and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada on the southern tip of Vancouver Island. I hope that everybody has had a lovely week and I hope you're looking forward to a fantastic weekend. In this class, everybody, we are looking at an IELTS reading passage. And this reading passage will be about cruise ships. Now, this reading passage is either for the academic IELTS exam or it could be section 3 of the general IELTS as well. So if you're taking the general IELTS, do note that section 3 is very, very similar to the academic exam. This is a brand new passage that we have in development, so nobody has seen this yet. It'll be a first time and it's kind of fun and exciting. Welcome Amrit, welcome to our members, welcome Carolina, our chat moderator. Students, these materials are being developed and they're brought to you by our websites for academic IELTS. Check us out at aehelp.com. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. That's basically the materials for these live classes. So it's like getting your textbooks for your high school or university class. These websites have lots of support for you with videos, PDF exams, interactive course, applications for your phones. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. You can click this big red button that's just above my head there. We're world leaders when it comes to IELTS exam preparation. We are partnered with IDP and British Council, and I'm a certified British Council agent. So you're in great hands with us. Our students are very satisfied. They improve their English communication, their IELTS scores. So definitely a good idea. General IELTS, green background, gieltshelp.com. Again, same concept. Click the big red button there to join our premium IELTS course. One-time payment, lifetime access. Welcome, Tulsi. Hi, Amra. Hi, Arda. Rashika, I did get your email. Again, good job on the speaking. Now it's just time to focus on the rest, like the reading class that we have right now, Rashika. So the timing is impeccable. All right, students, on the websites, you can use this code IELTS10 for a 10% discount. When you're checking out, click the use coupon code and then type in IELTS10 and you will get a 10% discount. Download the apps Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help from your app stores. Link the apps to the websites. Follow us on Instagram to get the latest news and live schedules. IELTS_AE Help for academic and GIELTS Help for general. And if you still have some questions, send me an email to Adrian at aehelp.com. That's Adrian at academicenglishhelp.com. That's me. And I will get back to you ASAP. All right. Students, let's get into it. So we've got the reading right now for members. Then we'll have listening parts 3 and 4 afterwards for subscribers to complete the listening exam that we started last week. Tomorrow we'll have task 2 writing and speaking part 3. And then on Sunday we will have one Light Hall class on Light Hall. Yeah, check that out. That's awesome. Light Hall live interaction, video, audio, real time. Let me throw that into the chat. Click that link and practice speaking on Light Hall. All right. So Let's take a look at the reading for today. We'll do some reading together as well. Here we go. The cruise ship industry. All right. There we go. So I think I'm going to try to maximize that so it's just the maximum size. Okay, the cruise ship industry. So this is the title of this passage. All right. So when you are in your IELTS exam, now this is section 3, and this is actually taken from our general IELTS, but it could, of course, very well be a reading passage in the academic IELTS as well. So the cruise ship industry, let's get focused here, students. Now you read this title and notice how it's not just cruise ships, but it's the cruise ship industry. So industry meaning the entire business world of cruise ships. What kind of information? So when you read the title, you definitely want to think of all the information possible that you know about the cruise ship industry before you start reading, because that will help you to understand about what you read. And ideally, you're thinking about this in English. So when you think about the cruise ship industry, what is it? So try to think logically. Don't just have random thoughts, but try to go through logical, critical thought. So first of all, think about what is the cruise ship industry. Amrit says it's a large passenger ship. That would be what is a cruise ship. What is the cruise ship industry? Arta says cruise ships are ships that are for holidays and entertainment. Yeah, so what is the cruise ship industry? Okay, so it is a massive tourism business with large boats for travel, holiday, and entertainment. Right? So when you're doing your IELTS exam, students, first of all, focus. I see some of you are a little bit all over the place today. And secondly, be descriptive. So use good critical thought. Okay? Use good critical thought. All right? So again, what is the cruise ship industry? It is a massive tourism business with large boats for travel, holiday, and entertainment. All right. Amra says to facilitate pleasure voyages via the use of cruise ships. Okay, why? Why do we have this? So why is there a need for the cruise ship industry? This is a good question to ask. And again, so when you're doing your IELTS exam, you should really only be spending 1 to 2 minutes to do this. Let's say reviewing the questions, which is the next step, is another minute. So from the 20 minutes, you should be spending about 3 minutes on reading the title, thinking about what it could mean, and then looking at the questions, okay? So why is there a need for cruise ships? I mean, think about this. Why do people go on cruise ships? Why would you go on a cruise ship? So obviously there's got to be a couple different reasons why people do this. What do you think? Why go on a cruise ship? Why does this industry even exist? Why don't we just have planes and fly all over the place? Artist says certain people are interested in spending holidays on a ship and traveling at the same time. Yeah, but why? Amrit says for travel and entertainment. Yeah, Amrit, but why? I can do that with an airplane as well. Okay, so you're not really answering the question. Think about it like, what does a cruise ship actually give me? What is the unique experience? There has to be something unique about cruise ships. Otherwise, people wouldn't go on them, wouldn't spend those incredibly large amounts of money for cruise ships. Amrit says for travel and entertainment, but Amrit, I can get travel and entertainment without a cruise ship. Okay, so Carolina says for a unique experience to see the world from the oceans. Okay, I'm adding a bit. Sure, unique experience too. Now, it's not just a unique experience. All right, Amra says to have a good rest for those who like the sea and the ocean. Yeah, so definitely that's one part of it, liking the sea and the ocean. To have catering and luxury with like-minded people, right? So cruise ships tend to have similar types of crowds on them, right? So similar types of people tend to get on cruise ships. That's why they have theme cruise ships like the Disney cruise ship, which are obviously designed for family and children, right? And then they have cruise ships with jazz music and casinos that are specifically designed for elderly or more geared towards catering to the older populations, right? Okay, to visit multiple cities and countries in one trip. Here in Victoria, where I live, we have cruise ships come here all the time in the summer. I bet you we have a few cruise ships here right now. I saw a couple with my daughter just the other week when I was taking a walk along the seaboard. So Victoria is a very popular place for cruise ships to stop. Usually the Alaska cruise ships that go up all the way to Alaska to check out the northern part of the planet, the icebergs. Okay, Amrit says to have more facilities as compared to other modes. Yeah, so lots of entertainment within a short trip, right? So they've got all kinds of different programs and entertainment on the cruise ship within a short time. It's a very catered experience, right? Okay, so good. Now, let's not forget one more question. And again, students, like I said, this should be happening quickly in your head. So how does a cruise ship work? So how does a cruise ship experience work? What happens? What do you think? Now, I've never been on a cruise ship, to be honest with you. And I don't really have the intention to go on a cruise ship anytime soon. But just from what I've heard from people and from what I've seen in movies or read in books and magazines, I can answer these questions quite well. So even if some of you are thinking, well, I don't really have cruise ships in my country or my city, I don't know anything about cruise ships, that's not the right attitude on the IELTS for passages to get a good score. Instead, even if you have very little experience with the topic, you still need to think about that topic. So you still need to think, okay, well, what do I know about cruise ships? What have I heard? What have I seen about cruise ships? They're well advertised, so most of us do have some experience, okay? So how does a cruise ship experience work? Louise says $400. Okay, sure. Yeah. So buy a ticket for a trip. Okay. Go on a boat, which is like a floating hotel. Yep. Sure. Sign up for activities. Yeah, you get a room, obviously. Okay. Amrit says money and time, 1 to 2 weeks. Let's try to be a bit more. Let's try to be a bit more specific, Amrit, with that thought. Okay. Stop at different cities for tourism and activities, right? So that's how go to restaurants, casinos, dancing. Okay, so lots of entertainment on those cruise ships, swimming pool, maybe jet skis, something like that. Okay, so and of course you go on the ocean. Okay, so that's how it works, right? And you probably meet people. Let's not forget about the social experience of cruise ships. A lot of people like cruise ships because you're basically stuck together with people on a boat, so there's a social experience. So obviously visualize, right? Envision. Remember that word from yesterday? Envision. Being on a cruise ship. Visualize. Being a passenger on an Alaskan cruise. Okay, or a Mediterranean cruise. Whatever you like. All right. Okay, so that is the cruise ship industry, being on a cruise ship. Okay, now let's not forget that this is the cruise ship industry. So it's $1 billion industry. Lots of money is invested. Okay, let's take a look at the questions. Okay, so here we go. Reading passage 1 has 7 paragraphs, A to G. Which paragraph contains the following information? Okay, remember, this one you cannot skim and scan because you would do too much reading. You would do too much skimming. You would do too much scanning. Because if number 28 is at the end of the passage, you have to skim read the whole passage to figure out that 28 is at the end. And it would be a very, very confusing way to do this, okay? So we don't want to do that. So we want to look at these, and we want to paraphrase these in our head as we're reading them. So statistics concerning the increase in tourism during cruise ship season. Okay, so to make sure that I'm not just looking at this, but I'm also understanding this, what I want to do is I want to paraphrase these while I look at them. Now at home, do it on paper. During the IELTS, during the real test, do it in your head. Okay, so statistics, another way would be saying analytics. It's become a common word today. Analytics, of course, analyzing, like Google Analytics, right? Concerning, related to the increase in tourism during cruise ship season. Okay, so analytics related to the larger number of travelers during cruise ship season. So just kind of getting a clear picture, a clear understanding of what that means. Members, you can do this with me. Okay, so you can paraphrase with me. Analytics related to the large number of travelers during cruise ship season. Okay. All right. So the decline of local culture in favor of homogeneous items. How would we paraphrase that? I've got a pretty good idea. Let's see if some of you understand this as well. So decreasing domestic customs to cater to the popular needs. Okay, so this is obviously where people don't really follow their culture, but instead they find ways to make money by selling popular items to the tourists, right? Okay, and then in the real exam, you do this in your head. Okay, so number 30, the advantages for travelers taking a cruise ship. The benefit for passengers to go on a cruise, right? Okay. We kind of talked about that, right? Entertainment, social experience. You see a lot of different countries, cities in a short amount of time. So that's where we were thinking about the what, why, how. So we're obviously going to be looking for that kind of paragraph there. Okay, the productive advantage of the industry. So the benefits of the cruise ship business. The ethical question facing prospective cruise ship writers. The moral dilemma for cruise ship passengers. Okay, so should I go on a cruise ship? Should I not? We'll get back to these in a few moments when we answer the questions after we read the passage. Let's take a look at this. So here we have a complete the summary below question. Complete the summary below can come from one paragraph, it can come from half of the passage, or it can even come from the whole passage. We don't know that until we read the summary and the passage. So the cruise ship industry drawbacks. Okay, now I can see that here there's number 32, the ethical question facing. So there's obviously some problems with the cruise ship industry or the business of cruise ships. And so I'm sure that some part of the reading passage will focus on this. Drawback means negative. Okay. Drawback, negative. Deficit, deficit. Disadvantage. Okay, those are all synonyms for drawback. Okay, drawback, negative, deficit, disadvantage. Those are all the same. All right. The greatest drawback to the cruise ship industry is its impact on the something. Not only do cruise ships dump garbage, fuel, and human waste into the water, they also do something else. The carbon footprint of people the moment they step upon a ship, something is also a massive concern, as it can be the same as the most polluted places in the world. A complicating factor is the something of cruise ship clientele, since older individuals are more susceptible to damaging particles in the air. Okay, welcome Ghazi. So we've got 33, 34, 35, and 36. We don't know what they are yet, but we know it has to do something with the disadvantages or the negatives of the cruise ship industry and experience. Okay, multiple choice. Again, virtually impossible to skim read or scan for this type of question. So you really just have to follow good strategy. You need to read the question. Don't worry about the answers, because reading those answers is more confusing than helpful. So just the question, what is the share of air pollution in port cities that cruise ships cause? Okay, so how much air pollution do cruise ships cause in cities? Okay. What is the main concern of cities like Dubrovnik? Okay. which is a key impact of cruise ships with respect to public health. Okay, so how do cruise ships impact the health of society? And which of the following phrases best describes the main aim of reading passage 3? That we will only understand once we read reading passage 3. Okay, so we've looked at the questions and we know that this passage will describe the cruise ship industry and will include quite a bit of information about the negative impact of the cruise ship industry. So let's do this, members. Let's read together because I will ask you to read and answer questions after with me, okay? So read with me. Nice and loud. I will start here in just a moment. I will do a countdown. Okay, so we're going to start from the title. Always start from the title. Okay, here we go. So the cruise ship industry. The cruise ship industry is an incredibly popular source of leisure and an economic powerhouse, yet it has come under attack in recent years for its environmental, social, and health impacts. Though many people enjoy a week or two on the seas regularly, more and more people are recognizing the negatives associated with this activity and are choosing more environmentally responsible options for their leisure activities. In 2017, almost 26 million passengers took part in a cruise among the many routes that the major companies run: the Caribbean, Mediterranean, South Pacific, Alaska, and many others. These adventures offer patrons a relaxing and hassle-free holiday. Moreover, tourists can see a wide variety of ports of call on a single voyage. For example, a guest aboard a Caribbean cruise may visit more than a half dozen countries on a single cruise. For people who want a brief taste of various nations and cultures without having to fully immerse themselves, a cruise is an appealing option. So what is this paragraph about? It's about the cruise ship industry, introducing it as a multi-billion-dollar business. It's about the reason that people go on a cruise, to see many different countries and places in one trip, and to introduce the concept of the cruise ship industry's negative impact on the environment. All right, paragraph B. The economic impact of the cruise ship industry is immense. In 2017, it accounted for roughly 100 billion pounds in economic activity and another 35 billion in employee salaries. In addition, a single landing in a port creates an economic impact of more than £500,000 for the city being visited. Clearly, the cruise ship industry is an engine of productivity, both in its employment and economic impact upon the cities and towns it visits. So this paragraph, what is it about? It's about the financial and economic power of the cruise ship industry, which is valued in the well over 100 billion pound mark. Paragraph C. While the economic advantages of the cruise ship industry are obvious, there are also a number of negatives associated with the industry. Foremost among these is the environmental impact of the industry. For example, a person's carbon footprint, a measure of environmental impact, triples the moment a person steps aboard a cruise ship. Cruise ships are notorious for dumping garbage, fuel, and human waste directly into the seas and oceans they traverse. These ships also consume some of the dirtiest fuel in the world, and this leads to astonishingly high levels of pollution in the cruise ship's surroundings and also in the immediate vicinity. One study found that air quality on the upper deck of a cruise ship is similar to that of the world's most polluted cities. Health impacts from exposure are numerous and are complicated by the cruise ship industry's generally older client base. Cruises are most popular among those aged 65 plus. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? It is about the environmental impact, the pollution that cruise ships create, and the health impact for elderly people, as cruise ship air quality can be quite low, and cruise ships dump a lot of fuel and waste into the oceans where they are. So it's bad. D. Cruise ship pollution also greatly affects the port cities the vessel visits. For example, the city of Marseille in France is a popular port for Mediterranean cruises. Fully 10% of air pollution in the city can be attributed to the cruise ships that lie in the port every day of the year. Citizens of cities such as Marseille protest the negative health effects of cruise ships' environmental impacts, as well as their impacts on the social environment of their cities. So here it says that, okay, cruise ships don't just pollute the ocean, and they're not just bad for the passengers potentially, but also bad for the cities where they visit. All right, E. Cities like Dubrovnik in Croatia, which has a population of about 40,000 people, can see its numbers swell by over 50% with the visit of up to 5 cruise ships in the town at one time. This results in a crush of tourists in the old and scenic part of the town, and the displacement of culture in favor of shops and services that cater to the foreign tourists. While proponents of the industry claim that cruise ships bring economic prosperity to communities like Dubrovnik, critics say the local culture is being hollowed out by the economic pressures associated with the industry. One particular example is the loss of local cuisine in Old Town Dubrovnik. Instead of featuring Croatian specialties, restaurants offer nondescript Western foods such as pasta, pizza, hamburgers, and other dishes familiar to Western European tourists. Okay, so the negative impact on towns and culture, E here. Okay. F. One other key impact of cruise ships is their health impact on their own guests. Cruise ships can act as an incubator for disease. Among the most common conditions on cruise ships is the norovirus, which is massively contagious and can affect a large percentage of cruise ship passengers in a short time. With so many people so close together, cruise ships are a haven for germs, both bacterial and viral. No surprise that cruise ships really took a hit during COVID. Okay, the spread of disease on cruise ships potentially. In summary, the cruise ship industry is complicated. It has clear benefits, positive economic impacts for its employees and ports of call, but it also has clear negatives: environmental destruction, cultural losses for ports of call, disease on board, and a negative health impact from its air pollution. If given the opportunity, should you go on a cruise? The answer is up to you. But it is clear you should take into account all of the impacts, both positive and negative, the industry has. All right. What is this about? It's a conclusion. It tells you that, hey, look, there's some positives, there's some negatives. If you want to go on a cruise, do it, but know that it has both sides, advantages and disadvantages. All right. Yeah, Amrit. I mean, you have to be ready to comprehend this much information. So, in this case, when you're reading this, right, you should realize, for example, Amrit, this, and you can do this at home, okay? So, here we have the cruise ships, right? So, cruise ships, okay? And then here we have two sides to this. So we have the positives, right? And we have the negatives, okay? Positives are basically coming from paragraph B and I believe paragraph C, okay? And then paragraph D, E, F, G are more about the negatives. Well, G would probably be more just the conclusion, both sides, right? So we want to remember that, well, even C is kind of more in this category here. So we want to know and we want to remember that this one here, B, is economic. Okay, D is pollution. E is damage to passengers. Roughly, right? I don't remember if they're exactly this, but I kind of do. And then culture. Could be a little bit mixed up. It's okay. All right, can everybody kind of see that? Some of those are a little bit behind me, but you kind of get the idea. So you should have this kind of rough concept of what you've just read. All right. Okay. Let's do this, members. I'm going to reach out to you. We're going to do a bit of practice here together. Okay, for this practice, let's use our website. So members, I'll be looking for you here for volunteers. We're going to solve the questions together. We're going to walk through it. We're going to discuss it. And we're going to do this in an interactive way that'll be great for everybody. Okay, so we're going to answer the questions based on this passage interactively. Go to aehelp.com. Okay, it's aehelp.com. For those watching, I highly recommend using our premium course by clicking this big red button there. Okay. Go to the My Student account. And then in your My Student account, you will now see a new button. So you will see this button, Student Partner Speaking. This is what we're using right now. And in some countries, you can now register for your IDP home-based IELTS exam through our website. We're partnered with IDP. So you can click on that register for the IELTS test in countries like Australia, New Zealand. You can click that button and it'll take you to the IDP test registration page, which is really cool. I wanted to show you that while we're here because it's a new feature of the website. It's a new part of the website. But right now, this button here, okay, Student Partner Speaking. Click on that. Enable your microphone, and then you will see this list of people. So Sunantha, Brajesh, Mohammed, Amrit, Captain are in here, and then now you can volunteer. So click on the blue envelope, and I'm looking first of all for members here, as this is a members chat class. So click on the blue envelope and just say, hey, I want to answer some question. Amrit, in India it's not showing because in India it's not available yet. You cannot do the home-based IDP IELTS in India yet. So that's why it's not available. It only shows in countries where it's available. I think there are about 10 countries where it's available. We'll make a video on that so that people know. Okay. All right. So I can see that Amrit is volunteering here. Would you like to answer some questions? Amrit, or help me answer some questions. We'll do it together. Okay. Let's do it.
Hello,
Hi, Amrit.
I'm doing great, sir. What about you?
I'm doing quite well also, Amrit. Thanks for volunteering to help me answer some questions here. I know that you have some concerns about the reading section, so you read the
Yes, sir.
passage with me. Let's take a look at it. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
sir.
all right. Here we go. This is the matching paragraphs. And Amrit, at the end of the day, to get a good band score in your reading, you do have to understand about 70% of the reading passage or more. Okay? So let me guide you with this. So read with me. I'm going to just erase all the highlighting here. And then we'll look at these questions. So let's take a, so here we have to match the paragraph with the statement. So we have to put the correct letter of the paragraph, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, one of those ones here. Okay, so go ahead and read number 28 for me, this one right here.
Okay, sir. Statistics concerning the increase in tourists during cruise ship season.
Okay, so statistics concerning the increase in tourists during cruise ship season. All right, so what information are we looking for this statement?
Sir, this is actually negative.
Okay, there was a very specific statistic. What statistic did it give us about increasing tourists during cruise ship season?
Actually, sir, I can't remember.
Okay, so let me ask you this a little bit. I think Amrit, one part of your strategy you have to change about the reading section is to start thinking positive. You really have to focus on what you can remember instead of what you cannot remember. Okay,
Okay, sir.
if we think in a negative way, like if I'm thinking like I can't remember or I don't know, I'm just going to start searching. You'll have no idea what you're searching for, and the problem with that is you'll run out of time. You will definitely run out of time before you can answer enough questions to get a good band score. Okay, so what information do you remember about increasing tourists? There was one very specific part of a paragraph that created a very clear picture, at least in my head, about more and more tourists. What was
Actually,
that?
sir, it's about money, like revenue. Or,
It's not about money. It's about increasing tourists. So here it says increase tourists during cruise ship season. You have to so it's not about money. I can see that Ghazi says billions and Rashika says billions too, but there's nothing here about money in this statement. It says increase in tourists, not tourist money or not economics. There's nothing there. The statistics concerning the increase. There was a when we're talking about statistics, Amrit, what kind of numbers do we look at in statistics?
like, sir, million.
Okay, so we have numbers, but statistics. Statistics use what kind of type of math?
Like a specific number.
Okay, very good. Ghazi says percentages, right?
Oh, percentage.
Right? Statistics, percentages. If you think of task one, bar charts, pie charts,
Oh,
you're looking at percentages. There's a paragraph that has a very specific percentage about the increase in the number of tourists. It gives an example of a statistic.
maybe, sir, paragraph C.
Instead of guessing which paragraph, because you won't be able to guess, you have to know the information that we're looking for. The situation with this kind of question, Amrit, is that if you don't know what information you're actually looking for, it's virtually impossible to find it. The only way you might be able to find it is if you read the whole passage again, but then you're stuck reading the whole passage again, right?
Okay, sir.
So reading the whole passage over and over for every question is extremely time consuming and difficult.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, sir, I missing the uh, previous like little bit class in previous minute.
It wasn't in the beginning, this one. So
Uh,
let me give you a hint. There's a paragraph that talks about a town where there's a 50% increase in the number of tourists during cruise ship season. Do you remember that information?
Sir, I think at this information at the beginning of the
The
paragraph.
beginning is the introduction and the benefit, like the economics, right? It comes after the negatives. And here, so when I read the passage I'm reading, I'm going to help you along. Don't worry, it's okay. I'll show you. So when I read this information, I'm thinking, okay, what were statistics that I read about increasing number of tourists? The only statistic that I remember reading clearly about more and more tourists was this town of Dubrovnik in Croatia. It says that it has 40,000 people, and that it says that its numbers swell by 50% with the visit of 5 cruise ships at one time, which is obviously during cruise ship season, right? So this would be a statistic of increasing tourists during tourist season. This is the only one that's very specific to this question. Okay.
Uh, yes, sir, and it's safe over 50%.
Exactly. So it's giving me that statistic, right? 40,000 people, numbers swell by 50%. So I can imagine that it's 60,000 people, which means 20,000 of them are coming from the cruise ship. So I can figure that out. So it's not in the beginning. And this is the dangerous part of thinking incorrectly for these questions, is that
Yeah,
it takes a long time for somebody to find that it's E, or they just get it wrong, right? Because
yeah,
they're
sir.
focusing on money.
Yeah, sir. My reading skill is very low side because so that's why I got only 5.5 in my previous exam.
Amrit, step number one, stop thinking negatively about your reading skills. So I think Carolina suggested this in the chat, that you
Yes,
just
sir.
have to go step by step, identify your mistake, figure out why you made the mistake. So let me ask you that. Why do you think you made the mistake here? So uh, what was the problem? Why were you having difficulty with this number 28?
Actually, first of all, sir, I did not read this passage.
As an instructor, I don't think that was the reason why you were having problems with this. So that's fine, Amrit. You were lacking some information from the passage, but I actually think that there was another mistake, or another, not even a mistake, but a challenge. The reason that you didn't, or you wouldn't have had the chance to answer this correctly. What was that, Amrit? Amrit, did I lose you? You suddenly went very, very silent on that end. Maybe we lost our connection, which is okay. If you can still hear me, Amrit, or when you're reviewing this video, the problem, and I think a couple of you had this by looking at the chat, is not clearly understanding the question. So statistics, increasing tourists. There you are, Amrit.
Hello,
Hi.
hello, sir.
So, Amrit, I
Hello.
think, yeah, I can hear you, Amrit. I think the first,
Can you hear me, sir?
yes, I can. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sir. I think there's
Um,
some problem
yeah,
with
it's
my mic.
okay, Amrit. I'm just saying that I think the initial problem with the reason you would have gotten this wrong is that you misinterpreted the question. You thought of statistics as economics or money, but statistics of increasing tourists means using math for more tourists. Okay. So anybody looking for money in this case, or choosing a paragraph that talks about money, would get this wrong. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, Amrit, I'm going to get somebody else for the next question, and then we'll move along these questions nice and smoothly. So keep watching and pay attention to how to find the right answer. Okay. So looking at this from a positive side. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, Amrit. All right. Ghazi, I can see you're volunteering, which is good. Sure. Are you ready? Okay, so students, step number 1, make sure you understand the question clearly. Don't overthink it. Then step number 2, think critically about where that information comes from in the passage. Okay.
Okay. Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Ghazi. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Good, good. We're having some very warm weather here on the West Coast. Are you also having some very warm weather on the East Coast of Canada?
Yeah, it's cold a little bit actually in
It's
the last
cold?
week.
Okay.
Yes, cold and it's rainy.
Cold and rainy. Here, it's very sunny and extremely hot for
Yeah,
us.
so I tested a positive with COVID last week, so that's the reason you didn't see me.
I can still hear that you're recovering your voice. Yeah, I think everybody is going to catch.
Yeah, I catch it finally.
I caught it. I caught it finally.
Yeah,
I think everybody is going to catch it at some point. I
Yeah.
think those vaccines were just a very temporary
yeah, it was okay
fix.
now.
Yeah. Okay, let's
Okay.
do this, Ghazi.
Yeah.
So number 29, go for it. Read number 29 for me.
Yeah, the decline of local culture in favor of homogeneous items.
Okay, good. So before we identify which paragraph this is, what are the homogeneous items that this statement is talking about?
Yeah, here they mention, okay, due to the tourists, they increased the number of the tourists in the a certain market, that they can increase pressure on food and like food.
Good, 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 good. Ghazi, good. Stick
Yeah.
with it. So when you have an idea of what's going on, stay with it because it's probably right. Okay. So when you have that feeling of, oh, I think this is what it's talking about. What are those food items specifically? And this was the visual part, right? Like this is actually seeing what you read. So what were those food items that are homogenous, that are the same as what a lot of people eat?
Yeah, we talk about homogeneous items.
It mentioned some very specific types of food. What were those specific food?
Okay, talk about specific. This is not seafood, but
No, it
something.
wasn't seafood. It was something that you find everywhere in the world.
Like bread or something.
Wasn't bread. No, you're close. They have bread with that kind of food, but it wasn't bread. Maybe somebody in the chat can help out. Yeah, Amra's already typing it in there. And
I didn't know it exactly what, but that's kind of food. That
can
is
you
what.
see the chat? Can you see what Amra is typing into the chat right now?
Okay, pizza, pizza.
Pizza, hamburgers, pasta, right?
Yeah.
Carolina has even put a pizza emoji into
Yeah.
the chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
that fast food, like fast
Yeah.
food.
So the reason why it's important to remember that, okay, so not just
Yeah.
food, but the reason why it's important to remember hamburgers and pizza is because we can find those words very quickly in the passage. So when you're doing this, guys, and when you're doing this passage in the IELTS, if you can remember that, oh yeah, they're not, it's something about losing culture. They're not selling their local food because they're selling popular food items like pizza and hamburgers. The human eye can see the word pizza and hamburger super
Yeah.
fast. That's one of the reasons why shops sell them, is because when a tourist is looking around and they want to eat some food, if you have a big sign that says pizza on it, I guarantee you 9 out of 10 people will see that sign very quickly. So you
Yeah,
can,
like a sign. Yeah, easy to find it. Yeah.
because your eye sees that word pizza so much, or hamburger so much. So guess what? In the IELTS passage, your eye can find that word in seconds.
Yeah.
And we also know it's kind of coming from the second half. So let's see how quickly your eyes can find these words on the screen. Can you see the passage?
Yeah, I think talk about the pressure on food, something in middle or something.
It's right there, Ghazi. So it's still in the same paragraph.
Yeah, there's the E. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
E.
it's still E. You can see pasta, pizza, hamburgers. My
Yeah.
eye just literally like a magnet went to pasta,
Those-
pizza,
yeah.
hamburgers. So it's still E. So here, our answer is E. And IELTS might have this kind of an answer where you have
Yeah.
E for the first one, E for the second one. Okay.
Yeah.
Just because the first answer was E doesn't mean the second one cannot be E. It says that right here in the instructions, by the way, for this kind of...
Yeah, we can repeat the letter, I think.
Yeah, it can be the same letter. So when IELTS has this type of a question of matching paragraphs, they always say NB. NB means note, by the way. You may use any letter more than once. So that's why it can be E and then E again.
Yeah.
Okay. And I should have put that
Yeah.
here.
Do you want to try another one?
Yeah, I do. Let's do it. So read number 30.
Yeah. The advantage of travels taking a cruise.
What are they? What are the advantages for travelers
Talk
taking
about
it?
the travels taking. That's for people, for tourists. The benefit for them, like unwind their mind and discover, explore other places. That is, I think, talk about the advantage. Introduce.
Where are the advantages in the passage? So keep it simple, Ghazi. Where does it talk mostly about the advantages?
Because in introductions talk general.
Yeah, but there's advantages there. So let's
Okay.
take a look. If you're thinking in the beginning, it's where, then let's take a look. So you're thinking A, right? Okay.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah, go ahead, read A.
Yeah. Yeah, cruise ship industry is an incredible popular sources of leisure and economic power house. Yeah, I think this.
Keep reading.
Yet it has come under attack in recent years for its environmental, social, and health impacts. Thought many people enjoy a week or two on the sea regularly. More and more people are recognizing the negative associated with this activity and are choosing more environmentally responsible options for their leisure activities. In 2017, almost 26 million passengers took part in a cruise, amount of many routes that the major companies run: the Caribbean, Mediterranean, South Pacific, Alaska, and many others. These adventures offer patrons relaxing and hazards free holidays. Yeah, that's the benefit for
Very good.
travels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, moreover, tourists can see a wide variety of port of call on signal voyage. For example, a gas board, a Caribbean cruise. I didn't see.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's my head is there, right? Yeah. I'll finish the sentence. May visit more than half a dozen countries
Yeah,
on a
there's
single
a
cruise.
single cruise for people who want a brief tastes of various Asian and cultures without having to fully immerse themselves. A cruise is an appealing option.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it's A, right?
yeah.
Those are the benefits coming near the end there. Okay, so you know that the benefits or the advantages are in the first half of this reading passage and the negatives are in the second half. So you definitely want to go to the first half, right? And
Yeah.
we also remembered that paragraph B here, the next paragraph, is the economic impact. And you know that
Yeah.
this question is asking about the benefits for the travelers. So it kind of narrows down your option to paragraph A, right?
Yeah, that is the benefit for the business here and B, because a benefit for individuals or travelers. So,
Exactly. So you know you don't want to overthink it, and I think a lot of times students, and I think this happens to Amrit as well, is they're overthinking the information. You should never be adding your own information when you're trying to solve these questions. Like when it says, you know, statistics concerning the increase of tourists, you shouldn't add your own information, like talking about money, right? Statistics is not about money. Statistics is a type of math that's about percentages, ratios, proportions,
yeah, numbers, percentage,
numbers, yeah, but not necessarily money, right? So you don't want to
Yeah.
add that.
anything.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried when I saw like 3-4 different members in the chat think it's about money, right? But there's nothing about money in that question. So you have to be really careful. Okay, Ghazi, I'm going to allow you to rest your voice because I appreciate you giving all this effort, but definitely drink a lot of tea. Don't go on a cruise for a little bit. And,
Yeah, thank you.
and I hope you feel better. Thank you for helping me with these questions.
Thank you, Adrian. Take care. See you later.
Bye, Ghazi. All right, that was Ghazi over on the east coast of Canada. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Captain, and we have Yash and Pham Kung, who are maybe volunteering. Let's see who Captain is. I don't know who Captain is, but as everybody knows, a cruise ship has a captain, so we should give Captain a chance here to volunteer. Hopefully we can make a good connection with Captain and then figure out the answer to some more of these questions if Captain's been in the class for the reading. So Captain, if you're there, let me know. Are you ready to volunteer? That'd be great. Like the captain of a cruise ship. Oh, Captain has disappeared. Maybe gone off on a cruise. I don't know. All right, let's try Yash. I am looking for members, first of all, but I don't see more members volunteering. And I don't want to torture Ghazi's voice anymore. So let's see if Yash is ready. Yash, if you're there, let me know. And then we'll go through a few more of these matching the statements to the paragraphs. Okay. Give you a couple more seconds, Yash. All right, I don't get any. I haven't gotten anything. Oh, yeah, there's Yash. All right, just in the nick of time, as they say.
Oh, yeah, there's Yash. All right.
Hi, Yash.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Hello.
I can hear you, Yash. Just make sure to mute YouTube so we're not getting feedback. How are you, Yash?
I am doing great, sir. Thanks for asking me that. What about you?
I'm doing quite well also. Thank you for asking. Okay, Yash, let's answer these last two questions here. Number 31. Read the question for me.
The 31 number?
Yeah, 31. That one there.
The productive advantages of the industry.
Okay, what is that? What are the productive advantages of the cruise ship industry mostly?
Yeah, that's a nice question. But actually, I didn't join from the beginning, so I don't remember the paragraph. So could you please help me to read the paragraph so I can know you?
Sure. I mean, we talked about like the benefit, right? The advantage of the cruise ship industry. What do you think is the benefit of the cruise ship industry?
As I remember that as Ghazi speak before me, so might be they are providing some foods and other benefits like they are providing some extra rooms and everything if I'm not wrong.
That's for the tourists, right? But for cities, for towns, for employees, I think Ghazi there has the answer in the chat. It's money, right? So you weren't here for the passage, Yash, but oftentimes when you're looking at reading in the reading section, you can use a lot of logic, right, to figure out these answers. The productive advantages of the industry, if I had to guess, like if I didn't read this passage and I'm thinking about cruise ships, is I would say the answer is lots of money
Mhm.
and work. I would imagine that cruise ships provide a lot of jobs for people on the cruise ship, jobs for people in many of the cities where cruise ships visit, for restaurants, for tourist activities. So lots of money and work. So now I know that I'm looking for this information, lots of money and work. And I know that there's a paragraph that talks just about this, which is paragraph B. So
Okay.
it says the economic impact of the cruise ship industry is immense. In 2017, it accounted for roughly 100 billion pounds in economic activity. So I know that the answer here is B, because I know what I'm looking for. Okay. Now, of
Okay.
course, if you don't read the passage, it's definitely going to be tricky. Okay. So here we're looking for B. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this last one. Number 32. Can you read number 32 for me, please?
Yes, absolutely. The ethical question facing prospective cruise ship rider.
Okay. So that's the moral dilemma. That's the question of should the person go on a cruise ship or should the person not go on a cruise ship? Where do you think we'll find that information?
Yeah, might be some people facing any problems while they are riding on a cruise. Like some people have fear of sea traveling or something. So they are not getting the facilities as they are getting on traveling by air or like on the train. So those are some benefits they don't get while traveling on the cruise ship.
Those would be personal dilemmas or personal questions. Ethical questions would be more like, okay, I'm going on a cruise ship because it's going to be very fun and relaxing, and I will get to explore a lot of new cities and new places, but there's also a lot of pollution that is being created because I'm on a cruise ship. That's the ethical dilemma. Now, if we have this passage about cruise ships, right? And in the introduction, in the beginning, it talks about the benefits, and then afterwards it talks about the negatives, the disadvantages. Then where in the passage do you think the author could include a piece of information where it says, okay, so if a person is planning to go on a cruise ship, it's their choice and they need to consider the advantages and the disadvantages when they buy their ticket? Where would you put that piece of information if you're the author?
Yeah, I can understand that, but actually, I didn't join from the beginning, so I just joined this class before 25 minutes ago. So I absolutely don't know about the paragraph and all.
I get that. So you're doing the same. You're taking the same negative approach, Yash, as Amrit. So and I understand why. I understand a lot of students get really frustrated with the reading because they're really focusing on what they don't know. And this is exactly what Amrit did as well. I don't understand the passage. I don't know what's going on. You have to really focus especially in the IELTS exam, on what you do know, right? So, for example, you should know that a good essay, and these are all essays, so all of these reading passages are essays. A good essay will have an introduction, will have body 1, body 2, body 3, body 4, 5 maybe, and then a conclusion. Okay? Each of those body paragraphs is going to discuss a specific point. So point 1, point 2, point 3, based on the thesis of the introduction. Okay, and that's what these passages do. Now, we know that the last paragraph is always the conclusion, right, Yash?
Okay.
Okay. When you write a conclusion for task 2, so this is kind of going to be kind of weird here, Yash, but I'm jumping to IELTS writing task 2, which is a persuasive essay. And this passage about cruise ships is kind of a persuasive essay, right? So when you write a conclusion, what should your conclusion have in it? What should a good conclusion have for an essay in task 2?
If talk about conclusion, then it would be like what are the benefits they get if they travel by the cruise ship, or what are some other enjoyments or entertainment activity, might be they should include both of that.
Yeah, so so a good conclusion paragraph will kind of restate the main points of the essay, right? It will strengthen the argument. So it will say, okay, tourists can visit a lot of wonderful places in the world, but they will also be creating a lot of pollution while they're traveling. Therefore, the cruise ship industry has both major drawbacks and advantages for human society. And then, as the last part of a good conclusion, Yash, there should always be some kind of a message for the reader. So something that they can take with them. Okay, because that's the value of a good essay. So a good essay's value is a piece of knowledge, a piece of advice, information that your reader can take away and go, oh, okay, I can take that with me and I can use that in my life, right? So if we look at this number 32, the ethical question facing prospective cruise ship writers, I can immediately tell, even if I haven't read the passage, I can logically deduce or figure out that this is going to be most likely a take-home message, the message for the reader, which will be in the conclusion. Okay? So all I have to do is I can look at paragraph G and I can see that in summary, which is like saying in conclusion, the cruise ship industry is complicated. Okay, sure, because it's the advantages and disadvantages. It has clear benefits, positive economic impacts for its employees and ports of call, but it also has clear negatives. So exactly what I'm saying about the conclusion, right? So points restated, okay? And then here, if we read this part, it has that take-home message. If given the opportunity, should you go on a cruise? The answer is up to you, but it is clear you should take into account all of the impacts, both positive and negative, the industry has. So this piece of information is that ethical question that the author is presenting. And even if I haven't read the passage, if I'm just looking at these questions without reading the passage, I would logically infer right away that this last question is dealing with the take-home message. Do you kind of see what I mean by that?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay.
They show the both of the aspect, like what are the benefits for the riders as well as the negative impact on the pollution, like they are harming the pollution as well.
Absolutely. It's the dilemma, right? So, and I can see that that's the take home message. I hope that everybody else sees that as well. Okay, Yash, a little bit of an easier part here. Let's do this. Here we go. This is complete the summary below. Let's do this together. I will help you. Go ahead and read from here the greatest drawback to the cruise ship industry.
Okay. Cruise ship industry drawbacks. The greatest drawback to the cruise ship industry is its impact on the blank. Not only do cruise ship dumps garbage, fuel, and human waste into the water, they also blank the carbon footprint of people the moment they step upon a ship.
Okay, let's
Blank
stop there.
is
Let's stop there. Number 33, based on what you read so far, what do you think is the answer for 33? The greatest drawback to the cruise ship industry is its impact on the what? If you had to guess, if I said, Yash, you have a chance to win $1 million, you just need to guess the answer to number 33. What would you guess is the answer?
yeah, yes. Just wait a minute. I'll think on that. Let us go back to the cruise ship. Is its impact on the not only do cruise ships convert with fuel and human waste into might be answer would be their cruise ship industry business.
The greatest drawback, the greatest negative to the cruise ship industry is its impact. Impact means effect on the
Yeah.
something. And then afterwards it says cruise ships dump garbage, fuel, and human waste into the water. So it's impacting negatively the
On the pollution,
environment.
environment pollution. Yes,
Right? The negative impact on the environment. Okay.
environment pollution. Yeah.
All right, and then it says not only do cruise ships dump garbage, fuel, and human waste into the water, they also something the carbon footprint. Now, you did not read this, but I remember that this was very clear because it was very visual for me. My feet got 3 times bigger, so they triple the carbon footprint of people. That was coming from I think paragraph C here. So, for example, a person's carbon footprint, a measure of environmental impact, triples. And here's the answer there, triples. Okay. Now, you could skim or scan for carbon footprint, right? But it's better to know exactly where you're looking. And when I read this paragraph, I literally saw my footprint grow 3 times in size when I got on that cruise ship. So visualizing is very, very powerful. Okay, so triples the carbon footprint of people the moment they step on a ship. Something is also a massive concern, as it can be the same as the most polluted places in the world. Okay. Here, I remember that it said that on the top deck of the cruise ship, the air pollution or air quality. Air quality is also a massive concern. This was about when it said that a lot of passengers are over 65 years old. I visualized a lot of 65-year-old passengers who were having difficulty breathing on the top part of the cruise ship, so they were hanging out on the lower part of the cruise ship. Here it says the ships also consume some of the dirtiest fuel in the world, and this leads to astonishingly high levels of pollution in the cruise ship surroundings. One study found the air quality, there it is, air quality on the upper deck. So I know that it's air quality, and it did not use this hyphen, so I'm going to make that correction, and it's all lowercase, so just air quality. Okay. is also a massive concern, as it can be the same as the most polluted places in the world. A complicating factor is the something of the cruise ship clientele, since older individuals are more susceptible to damaging particles in the air. What do you think? If you had to guess for number 36, what word would make sense there? You should be able to answer that without reading any of the passage.
Yeah. Let me guess for that. A complicating factor is the blank of cruise ship lantern, since older leaves are more susceptible to damaging particles in the air. The complicating factor is the blank.
I'll give you a hint. When there's a comma and it says since, like this, there could be a word coming after this since that can help you figure out this part, because there's a definition here.
Older leaves are more susceptible to damage.
Anybody in the chat? What's the word that logically goes there?
Smoke might be. Factor is the smoke of cruise ship lantern.
Well, that would mean that the clientele, the travelers, the passengers, smoking cigarettes and cigars, but I don't think so. I don't think they smoke too much on cruise ships these days. It would be the age, right? So a complicating factor is the age of cruise ship clientele. Remember how we just read that it was 65 and older? And then it says since older individuals. So this older individuals is kind of helping us figure out this part here. The IELTS is not as complicated as a lot of people think, okay? So you just have to think critical, all right?
Yeah.
And you can figure these out. All right, Yash, thank you so much for helping me with those. Keep working on it, okay? Keep working on it. Definitely you want to join these classes from the beginning so that you have the reading behind you before you answer the questions. That's why it's so important to read before you answer questions. Okay, Yash?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Yash, for volunteering. I wish you an
Yep.
awesome rest of your day.
Yep. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me an opportunity to read this passage.
Awesome. Bye, Yash.
Bye.
All right, so don't overcomplicate, students. Don't overcomplicate. Okay, here we go. So let me do the rest with you here. These are the multiple choice. Okay, so here for multiple choice, the trick is to read the question, think about the answer, and then make a choice. Don't stare at the choices thinking that will help you. So here, what is the share of air pollution in port cities that cruise ships cause? All right. Here, it talked about the city of Marseille in France. I don't know how to spell it, Marseille. It has such an interesting spelling. And I remember that it was 10%. So people in Marseille complain about, there it is. Sarah's going to hate me for not spelling Marseille correctly. French words are tough for me to spell, I have to admit. So Marseille was the city, and it was 10%. Okay, so 10% would be 1/10, right? 1/10 is equal to 10%. So simple math. It doesn't say 10%. It says 1/10, 100th, 10, or 100%. 10 is not correct because 10 is not a proportion. Okay, so be really careful with that. 1/10 is the correct answer. All right, because 1/10 is equal to 10%. IELTS is a thinking exam. What is a main concern for cities like Dubrovnik, which was the city in Croatia, and that was the loss of culture? Okay, highly dependent on cruise ship industry. Wow, Dubrovnik must have had a really tough time during COVID when all the cruise ships shut down. I just thought about that. So the main concern for Dubrovnik is the loss of culture. Shops that cater to both tourists and locals, the destruction of local culture, the destruction of its social environment, disease on board the ships. B is the closest answer to mine. So I'm going to stick with B. Very good, Amra. So Amra's thinking the same way. Excellent. Number 39, which is a key impact of cruise ships with respect to public health? Okay, they pollute and spread disease. Right? So which is a key impact of cruise ships with respect to public health, pollution, and spreading disease? All right. A, cruise ships act as an incubator of disease. Cruise ships give rise to cultural losses. Cruise ships have public health negatives, but contribute to local economies. D, environmental destruction due to disease. No. So the correct answer is A. Cruise ships act as incubators of disease. Very good, Amra. I like how, Amra, you're answering the questions. Not C, Ghazi. That was definitely not my answer for that one. Okay. Number 40, which of the following phrases best describes the main aim of the reading passage? Think about the conclusion. So, cruise ships are complicated with both negatives and positives. Each person must decide for themselves their overall value, right? That would be my answer for that. So cruise ships are complicated, and they have a lot of negatives, a lot of positives. A person has to decide, is it good, is it bad? Okay. A, the economic benefits of cruise ships are equal to the environmental drawback. The cons of taking a cruise outweigh the pros. The pros of taking a cruise outweigh the cons. Doesn't tell me that, right? A prospective cruise ship passenger should weigh the pros and cons of taking a cruise ship. D. Coming from paragraph G. Okay. So Amra was very quick with that as well. Amra said that's number 40. All right, so there you go. There are the answers. Now, of course, again, as I mentioned, members, you need about 70% understanding of the passage. So if you did not understand the passage at least 70%, then you have to read it again, identify unknown vocabulary, figure out why you didn't understand it, and then read it again. Improve your reading comprehension. Okay, members, thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for showing up even when it's challenging, like Ghazi did today, recovering from being sick. So that was awesome, everyone. Remember, for reading passages, start with the title, okay? Visualize it. Think critically about it. What, why, how. Review the questions, then read the passage. After each paragraph, think about what that paragraph is about. When you answer the questions, don't overcomplicate. Use logic and stay positive. Focus on what you know about essays and what you know about the topic. Don't get stuck on what you don't know. What you don't know, you don't know. That will not help you. Okay, keep that in mind when you're doing your next reading for the IELTS exam. I will be back in 30 minutes, everyone, with listening section, parts 3 and 4, finishing last week's exam. If you weren't here for that, it's totally okay because each part of the listening is unique. So come back in 30 minutes and do the listening with me, and we'll talk strategies. We'll use the website for the listening audio. Again, for all of our materials to follow these live classes effectively, visit aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. That's where you find our exams, our lesson videos. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. So it's absolutely worth it, and you can maximize your studies for these live classes every week as well. See you shortly, everyone. And Amrit, I'm glad you got that. Stay positive, okay? Bye for now, everybody.